A woman working for the British Censor Board during the rise of video nasties in the 1980s begins to find a connection between the gory movies she analyzes and the trauma from losing her sister when she was a child. The film is a compelling depiction of loss and personal instability against the backdrop of how the British government were quick to point the finger at horror films in order to explain the inherent civil unrest of the time. To quote the film, "Horror is inside all of us, and if left untreated and untended, it can result in the worst of human behavior." Niamh Algar gives a heartbreaking performance as Enid, a woman who takes pride in her dedication to getting it right as she watches movie after horrid movie, taking note of what needs to be removed to protect the public. Underneath this perfectionism is the guilt and trauma from her inability to remember what happened to her sister when they went into the woods as children. A guilt that starts to worsen as Enid begins to witness a parallel between her loss and the horror films. Her parents' decision to move on doesn't feel like an act of liberation, but more so a need to bury a pain that they can no longer bear. One of Enid's co-workers attempts to console her by relaying how the loss of his mother affected him so greatly that without the support of his friends, he'd probably have done something drastic. These story elements add to the overall theme of personal pain that needs to be remedied during a time when people would rather push it under the rug. Censor is driven by Enid's desperation to fix her past mistakes as her psyche becomes enveloped in a seemingly inescapable nightmare. The moment that stays with me is the climax, where Enid is so detached from reality that she kidnaps a terrified woman, believing she's finally found her sister. The contrast between her fantasy and reality is just heartbreaking.
You came back to save me.
Yes. I did.
Come on, let's go home.
That now these issues have been dealt with properly, the video nasties have been eradicated completely. The crime rate in Britain has actually dropped to 0. It's just like we said. The streets of Britain are safe at last. The employment rate is at a record high. The criminals are all locked up. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore.
An amnesiac bike messenger awakens in an abandoned hospital in London, only to discover that the entire population has disappeared. Or have they? 28 Days Later was terrifying when it came out, and has become 10 times worse in the past few years. Director Danny Boyle and his team succeeded in portraying a low-budget but massively impressive depiction of what would happen in the wake of an unstoppable virus that drove people mad with rage. The digital video style creates this relatable yet disconnected feeling, as if we're watching home footage of a parallel universe where this actually happened. I'm a fan of the slow zombie style, but the infected in this movie have probably scared me the most. The tiniest drop of blood is enough to turn you instantly and make you lose your humanity. And when they're coming at you at top speed, your chances of survival feel very slim. I've always had problems with the second half of the movie, as it turns into this uncomfortable rape scenario where we see that man is the real monster, and it starts to feel like a conventional movie with villains. But aside from that, the isolated cinematography and perfect score by John Murphy paints a bleak and believable end-of-the-world scenario. And the scariest scene for me is how it all starts, when a group of animal activists doom an entire population.
Keep your shit together if you want to get them out of here.
I can pop these, no problem.
So get to it!
Security, we have a break-in. Get to section. I know who you are. I know what you think you're doing.
You don't want to get hurt. Keep your mouth shut and don't move a fucking muscle.
The chimps are infected. They're highly contagious. They've been given an inhibitor.
Infected with what?
In order to cure, you must first understand.
Infected with what?
Rage.
What the fuck is talking about? For this shit. Get the cages open.
No!
Listen, you sick bastard. We're going and we're taking your torture victims with us.
We're gonna get you out of here.
Listen, the animals are contagious. The infection is in their blood and saliva. One bite. Stop! You've no idea! The killer!
Oh my God! What's the matter?
We have to kill her now! Oh God.
The path to hell is paved with good intentions. Serial killer Jigsaw reveals himself to the police in the midst of another game of deadly traps that threaten the lives of a group of criminals and a detective's son. A mixed bag as the Saw series is, it's always held a special place in my heart, as it was my generation's slasher movie, with a new sequel coming out every October. Saw 2 may not have been as good as the first, with an uninteresting cast and an emphasis on erratic editing, but it allowed Tobin Bell to shine as John Kramer, and the creativity of the traps and mystery keep you engaged and leave you wanting more. Naturally, there's a plethora of moments from this horrifying series to choose from, but the scene that always makes me wince, along with everyone else I'm forcing to watch the movie, is when recovering drug addict Amanda is thrown into a ditch full of used needles.
It will be like finding a needle in a haystack. Let the game begin.
Somebody's going in there. Now look, somebody's fucking going in there, man.
No!
Oh, shit. What did you do? Stop. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Go down!
Shit!
Oh my God.
Come on! You don't have time!
Oh shit! What the fuck's wrong with you?
What are you doing? You're out of your fucking mind. Hurry up! Come on! You don't have time. Keep fucking looking. Come on!
Someone gotta help her. What the fuck, guys?
Even in the theatrical cut, this scene was trimmed down because of how brutal it was, despite no dismemberment or bloodshed. So of course, I have to recommend the unrated cut if you ever watch it. Shawnee Smith, you are a legend. Ballet dancer Susie moves to Germany to attend a prestigious dance academy, only to discover an evil conspiracy lurking within the school. When I first saw Suspiria as a teen, I couldn't really get into it as I had no real understanding of the giallo style and what came with it. But upon revisiting it, it has grown on me due to its otherworldly use of Technicolor, its charming yet strange dubbing and dialogue.
Susie. Sarah. I once read that names which begin with the letter S are the names of snakes.
And the irreplaceable score by Goblin. Whereas 2018 Suspiria felt like a disturbing historical drama, Argento's original movie is a film for the senses that feels nauseating and hypnotic, and is one of the most beautifully shot horror films. The scene that stays with me is when Sarah tries to find a way to escape the school. A young businessman travels to the Swiss Alps to investigate the disappearance of his company's CEO, which brings him to a daunting and sinister wellness spa. This movie exudes mystery, intrigue, anxiety, and almost feels like a Lovecraft short story brought to life. It pains me how little attention and failed box office revenue this received upon release. Director Gore Verbinski crafted this beautifully shot psychological science fiction thriller with creative production design, stellar cinematography, haunting music, and a great cast. Dane DeHaan's morose demeanor is perfect for an investigative yet personally conflicted protagonist who is determined to solve the mystery of the wellness center, which leads him to a slew of terrifying revelations and encounters. The one that sticks with me is when he's treated to some, let's say, amateur dental work.
Hey! Was machen Sie hier?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Was machen Sie hier? Sie haben ja nichts zu suchen.
Take it easy.
What? It's all right. Mr. Lockhart, every time I turn around, you're somewhere you're not supposed to be.
I guess I'm lost. I'm just trying to find my way back to my room.
This is the restricted floor. There are signs everywhere. Surely you didn't just wander down here by accident. What is it exactly that you are looking for?
I had a problem with my tooth.
Your tooth?
Actually, it's feeling much better if you could just point me in the direction of my room.
Nonsense. We can't let you get an infection. You must let us take care of you. After all, that's why you're here. Dr. Brennan takes care of all our patients' dental needs.
Welche Behandlung wünschen Sie heute Abend? Nehmen wir sie alle?
Nein. Eine weiß es noch.
I'm sorry. About Hannah. Won't happen again.
Tell me, what were you doing in town?
Having a beer. Oh, what are you doing? Get your hands off me!
It's all for your own safety, Mr. Lockhart. We don't believe in chemical anesthesia at the Institute. The impurities inhibit the cure. But you will find that with a proper focus, the mind can overcome any amount of pain. Trust, Mr. Lockhart. I mean, if we can't trust each other, then how can I help you?
An electronics store clerk meandering through life must band together with his friends and family to survive a zombie outbreak in London. The third out of the 4 films that brought zombies back to the mainstream cinema, Shaun of the Dead is in my top 10 movies of all time and was foundational for nurturing my love for cinema and filmmaking when I was a teen. Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright found a way to pay homage to an endless number of their influences and inspirations without making a parody or satire on the zombie genre. Something I think people forget about this movie is that it's a horror movie with comedy in it and not the other way around. Moments that are played for laughs are still capable of instilling fear because of how they're shot, the makeup effects, and the amazing score by Daniel Mudford and Pete Woodhead. My love for this movie runs deep, but if I have to pick a scariest moment, it's when we reach the climax of the film. The first act may start off fun and comedic, but as the film progresses, we see how serious the situation is and how the stakes are very much real. By the end, The bright, dreamy look of the day has been replaced with the dark reds of the Winchester bar at night, with the zombie silhouettes clawing at the windows and tensions rising high.
David, no! David!
Right. I'm leaving.
What?
Not staying here.
David, don't. It's suicide.
I think you should go.
We will. We can run. We can defend ourselves.
What do you mean, we?
What do you mean? What do I mean, we?
Opening that door now would be a very, very silly thing to do.
So you're going to stay here with him?
Shaun,
after everything he's gotten us into?
Finish! Shaun didn't ask you to come here. You came for the same reason that I did, because you didn't know what else to do. Now get away from that door this instant!
But...
David!
I'm so sorry, Diane.
Maybe I'm not the one you should be apologizing to.
Shaun.
A single mother must find a way to help her daughter, who has adopted a disturbing personality, which she soon discovers is an unholy possession. William Friedkin's masterpiece of horror still stands the test of time with its nightmarish imagery, believable premise, and dedicated performances. This was a movie that terrified multiple generations, and growing up in a Mexican family, I can't tell you how many people I've met who tell me they either refuse to watch it or their mother or grandmother refused to watch it because they firmly believe that it invites the devil into their lives. And whether you're of a religious faith or not, that shows how well this film tapped into a culture's beliefs and values. Every other movie is fiction to them, but not The Exorcist because, quote, you don't mess with stuff like that. And no other copycat has been able to do that. The story of a girl's innocence caught between a domestic war between evil and the power of the church taps into American fears of the loss of faith and the disintegration of family, and I think will always resonate because of that. Picking just one scariest moment is hard, but my personal choice is when Reagan begins to speak in the voice of Father Karras' deceased mother. We as the audience are trying to remain as strong and resilient as he is, but seeing both his faith and his loss mocked by this evil is so disheartening.
Dime, why you do this to me? Please, Dime, I'm afraid.
You're not my mother.
Dime, please.
What is it?
Her heart.
Can you give her something?
She go into coma.
Isso é polícuras menos. Na pasto cravatis.
You're not my mother! Don't listen.
Why, Dime?
Damien.
Dime, please.
Get out.
In the midst of 1944 Auschwitz, a Jewish prisoner tasked with burning the corpses of his fallen brethren desperately tries to save the life of a boy he believes to be his son. The horrors of the Holocaust speak for themselves and have been portrayed through countless movies, but the film that made the atrocities feel like an inescapable straitjacket was Son of Saul. We are glued to Saul's shoulder throughout the entire film as he traverses scene after horrific scene of the massive loss of life. The lack of score keeps us grounded in reality, the pacing never lets up, and the sheer execution of this kind of story is remarkable. The scene that stays with me is the opening of the film, where we're first introduced to Saul and his job as a prisoner.
Genau solche Leute brauchen wir hier in den Werkstätten. Jeder bekommt Arbeit und guten Lohn. Nach dem Bad bekommt ihr eine heiße Suppe und danach meldet ihr euch bei mir. Im Lazarett brauchen wir Krankenschwestern. Wir brauchen Handwerker aller Art. Tischler, Zimmerer, Maurer, Betonmischer, Automechaniker, Schlosser, Elektriker. Alle melden sich nachher persönlich bei mir.
Alle Kleider bleiben hier. Alle Koffer hier lassen. Sofort ausziehen.
Macht etwas schneller. Merkt euch eure Hakennummer. Beeilt euch ein wenig, sonst wird noch die Suppe kalt.
Tür öffnen.
Das wird schön werden. Haben sich verdient. Mal rein in die gute Stube. Wir werden noch geil. Hier entlang, hier entlang. Weiter, hier rein. Gleich habe ich es geschafft. Nicht mehr weit. Ich habe es gleich geschafft. Hier auch.
Was ist los? Was ist los hier? Schweinhunde! Los!
Ihr wollt alle duschen, dann durchgehen. Prima. Danke, weiter. Tür zu. Tür auf.
Four teenagers go in search of urban legends in rural Texas, only to be captured and left at the mercy of the insane Firefly family. Although Rob Zombie was heavily inspired by the slew of backwater exploitation and southern horror films of the 70s, this was the first of that genre that I had ever seen, and it scarred me. As an adult, you can kind of find the humor in the dialogue and the performances, and you can come to appreciate the disorienting use of color. But as a teen, I really had to remind myself that it was only a movie. Granted, a movie that very much had its roots in the crimes and murders of the real world, and why I don't really want to ever visit Texas. Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, and Sherry Moon Zombie, who would later go on to become the infamous trio in The Devil's Rejects, all give amazing performances and genuinely convince me that these characters could exist. Sadomasochists who feel no empathy, no remorse, and don't find any value in human life. The scene that stayed with me is when the police finally investigate their property, giving you hope that justice will prevail, until it doesn't.
Appreciate the cooperation, ma'am. I'm looking for a missing girl.
I'm serious. This is a big Cocker Spaniel, big teeth. His ex-girlfriend almost bit off my pinky toe.
Yeah.
Shh. You hear that? Yeah, I hear it. Where do you think he's coming from?
Oh, this way.
All right, hold on 1 second here, hold on. Hey! Sheriff's Department, open up, hey!
No, I ain't seen her, sorry.
Ma'am, if I could just come in for a minute, I have some other pictures I'd like you to look at. Might stir something up.
No, I don't think so.
Ma'am, it'll only take a minute.
Oh, all right. I guess I can trust you. Being a man of the law and all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
I remember you. You're the one who made my dreams come true a few kisses ago.
Oh, this one looks familiar now. See on the TV.
No, ma'am, I don't believe he is.
You're the one who said I love you too.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Waddell over!
Waddell over.
I remember too a distant bell and stars that fell like the rain out of the blue. When my life is through and the angels ask me to recall the thrill of them all, then I will tell them I remember you. I remember too a distant bell and stars that fell like the rain out of the blue. When my life is through and the angels ask me to recall the thrill of them all, then I will tell them I remember, tell them I remember, tell them I remember you.
Seven months after the events of the first film, NATO forces have quarantined Great Britain, and survivors have been returned to safe zone districts, while their science teams begin working on a potential vaccine. I've always felt that 28 days and weeks go hand in hand. They both complement each other because they both lack and possess what the other doesn't. Days is slow and feels based in reality, whereas Weeks is fast and feels more like an action film. Days is weighed down by its third act, whereas Weeks picks up by the second act and becomes a non-stop fight for survival. But both films possess this sad sense of bleak, uninhabited isolation brought upon by humanity's dwindling influence and John Murphy's chillingly beautiful music. There's just something uniquely depressing about the fact that the virus is only contained to the UK, while the rest of the world continues with their lives. And this bleakness only continues once safe zones inevitably become infected. The scene that stays with me is the incredible opening scene, where a safe hideout is destroyed in seconds, and our unknown protagonist has to make a choice. Unfortunately, due to YouTube's copyright system, I am unable to show this scene without the video being blocked worldwide, no matter how many alterations or workarounds I've tried. If you'd like to watch it, look up the opening scene from 28 Weeks Later, and you'll still find it on YouTube, ironically. You can also see it by just watching 28 Weeks Later, it's an incredible film, or watch the uncensored version of this episode by clicking on the Google Drive link in the video description, where you can watch and download all episodes of my series thus far, uncensored with no copyright issues. In conclusion, I'll summarize the scene as I would have in the script. Terror out in the open, in broad daylight, with John Murphy's music from the original film scoring the action. It doesn't get more hopeless than that.